8:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here is the news, edited by Danushka Madhawala and read by Indrani Senanayaka. The headlines. The Met Department has issued an advisory for strong winds and rough seas. The President is set to address the nation at 8 p.m. on Wednesday. Interim Secretariat for Truth and Reconciliation conducts consultations in the Monaragala district. Sports Minister pledges to resign if allegations against Sri Lankan T20 World Cup cricket team are proven. The government to provide free fertilizer to all paddy farmers. In foreign news, Russia blames US for Crimea deaths and vows response. In sports, South Africa edge past West Indies to reach semis. The Met Department has issued an advisory for strong winds and rough seas, issued by the Natural Hazards Early Warning Centre until 7 a.m. tomorrow. For the sea areas off the coast extending from Trincomalee to Chilau via Kankesanthore and Puttalam, and from Hambantota to Portobello. The sea areas off the coasts extending from Trincomalee to Chilau via Kankesanthore and Puttalam and from Hambantota to Portobello will be very rough at times, with very strong gusty winds up to 60 to 65 kilometers per hour. The sea areas off the coast extending from Chilau to Hambantota via Colombo and Galle will be rough at times with strong gusty winds up to 50 to 55 kilometers per hour. Wave heights may increase about 2 to 2.5 meters in the sea areas of the coast extending from Kalpitia to Portobello via Colombo, Galle and Hambantota. Naval and fishing communities are requested to be attentive in this regard. The Government Information Department says that President Ranil Wickremesinghe is set to address the nation at 8 p.m. on Wednesday. The department further says that the address will be telecast live through all media channels at 8 p.m. The Interim Secretariat for Truth and Reconciliation Mechanism conducted a series of stakeholder consultations in the Monaragala district from the 5th to the 8th of June. The consultations aim to gather insights and address community challenges stemming from the conflict that occurred between 1983 and 2009. During the 4-day visit, the ISDRM team held 12 consultations with various stakeholders to identify key issues and community concerns. On the 5th of this month, the team met with Monaragala District Secretary RMP SB Ratnayaka to brief him on the proposed Commission for Truth, Unity and Reconciliation Bill and the work undertaken by the Interim Secretariat for Truth and Reconciliation Mechanism. On the 6th of June, consultations were held with villagers affected by the war in Etimale, Okampitia and Mahagodayaya at their respective divisional secretariat offices to address issues stemming from the 30-year conflict. On the 7th, the press briefing for regional reporters provided updates on the ISDRM's activities and objectives. Discussions were also held with various stakeholders, including divisional secretaries, government officials, head of provincial councils, ex-military officers, representatives from civil society organizations in the Monaragala district, military officers from the War College in Buttala, and senior police officers in the Monaragala district to gather feedback on the proposed legislation. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation, and we continue with local news. Minister of Tourism, Lands, Sports and Youth Affairs Harin Fernando stated that he will resign from his ministerial post if allegations of indiscipline within the Sri Lanka cricket team currently participating in the 2024 T20 World Cup are proven. He highlighted the government's significant investment in athletes' welfare, noting that 60 athletes who have achieved international recognition received a monthly allowance of 50,000 rupees, while an additional 850 athletes received an allowance of 10,000 rupees per month. The Minister of Tourism, Lands, Sports and Youth Affairs expressed these views while joining the press briefing held at the Presidential Media Centre today under the theme, Collective Path to a Stable Country. Minister Harin Fernando also noted that the government has implemented measures to provide insurance coverage for school rugby players. Minister of Agriculture and Plantation Industries Mahinda Amarweera said that the government has decided to provide MOP fertilizer free of charge to all the paddy farmers in Sri Lanka during the 2024-25 Maha season and the 2025-26 Maha season. Sri Lanka will thus receive 55,000 metric tons of MOP fertilizer as requested by the government from the UN Food and Agriculture Organization. The Minister of Agriculture and Plantation Industries, Mahinda Amarweera, expressed his views on this in a meeting held in Tisamaharama today. And that ends the local segment of news.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Vedamahatmya.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe emphasized the government's commitment to creating the most advanced, future-focused educational system in South Asia. He highlighted that education remains the nation's greatest asset and that the government has prioritized funding for education and integrating new technology despite economic challenges. In line with the President's vision, two major initiatives have been announced, promising a significant boost to Sri Lanka's educational landscape. Firstly, the Cambridge Climate Quest, a self-paced study course designed for students from grades 8 to 12, will soon be available to all Sri Lankan students free of charge. This comprehensive program, offered in all three national languages, promises to equip young learners with essential knowledge on climate and sustainability.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Vedamahatmya.
We now take a look at Watchlight. The National Audit Office has pointed out that the government has incurred a loss of more than 65 million rupees due to the purchasing of low-quality cancer drugs at the higher price of 254% during the tenure of Health Minister Kehelia Rambukwella. However, a drug given to cancer patients was at the storages for 10 months. And that came to you in Watchlight.
Coming up, World News.
First, the headlines. Russia blames US for Crimea deaths and vows response. Exploding battery spark deadly South Korea factory fire. Princess Anne admitted to hospital after head injury. Russia has blamed the US and vowed consequences for a Ukrainian missile strike on Sevastopol in occupied Crimea on Sunday, which officials say killed 4 people, including 2 children. Around 150 more were injured in the attack as missile debris fell on a beach nearby. Russia's defense ministry said the missiles used by Ukraine were US-supplied ATACMS missiles and claimed they were programmed by US specialists. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov called the strike barbaric and accused the US of killing Russian children. He pointed towards comments by President Vladimir Putin, who recently vowed to target countries supplying weapons to Ukraine. Moscow said Sunday's deaths and injuries were caused by falling debris after its air defenses in Crimea intercepted 5 missiles loaded with cluster warheads launched by Ukrainian forces. A massive factory fire has begun after several lithium batteries exploded, has killed at least 22 people in South Korea. The blaze broke out this morning at the RSL plant, about 45 kilometers south of the capital, Seoul. Local television footage showed large smoke clouds and small explosions going off as firefighters sought to put out the fire. A part of the roof had collapsed. South Korea is a leading producer of lithium batteries, which are used in many items from electric vehicles to laptops. A fire official said 18 Chinese, 1 Laotian and 2 South Korean workers had been confirmed as among the dead. The Princess Royal has been admitted to hospital after she suffered a minor head injury and concussion on her estate in Gloucestershire, Buckingham Palace has said. Princess Anne, 73, is expected to make a full and swift recovery after an incident at her Gatcombe Park estate on Sunday, a statement said. Sources suggest her injury is consistent with an impact from a horse's head or legs. The King has been kept closely informed and joins the whole royal family in sending his fondest love and well wishes to the Princess for a speedy recovery. The statement added, Princess Anne's trip to Canada that was due to begin at the end of this week has been postponed. She was injured on Sunday evening when she was out walking on her estate and horses were nearby. The cause of the minor head wounds is unconfirmed, with the uncertainty about what happened reflecting that the Princess suffered from concussion in the incident. To end this bulletin of world news, the headlines again. Russia blames US for Crimea deaths and vows response. Exploding batteries spark deadly South Korea factory fire. Princess Anne admitted to hospital after head injury. That ends this bulletin of world news.
Development news.
The Department of Census and Statistics stated that Sri Lanka's key inflation rate eased to 1.6% in May 2024. In the month of April, it was at 2.7%, and that was development news.
Moving on with sports news.
South Africa is through to the T20 World Cup semi-finals after a tense 3-wicket win on the Duckworth-Lewis turn method over co-host West Indies in a winner-takes-all Super 8s match. After England secured their place in the last 4 on Sunday, the game in Antigua was essentially a quarter-final to decide the other side to progress from Group 2. Chasing a DLS revised target of 123, South Africa wobbled at times but ultimately withstood the pressure, and Marco Jansen thumped a 6 to seal the win with 5 balls to spare. Having restricted the West Indies to 135 for 8, the Proteas appeared in control, but Andre Russell struck twice in the second over of the chase to leave them 15 for 2, and that was sports news.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු වීර හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
MAS announced as official clothing partner for the Sri Lanka Athletics until 2028 Olympics. Bodyline Private Limited, a subsidiary of MAS Holdings, will serve as the official clothing partner for the Sri Lanka Athletic Association from 2024 through to the Los Angeles Olympics in 2028. Through the partnership, MAS will provide Sri Lankan athletes with advanced kits integrating the company advanced expertise in apparel, tech and high-performance sportswear. That was Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු වීර හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Expenditure heads of the education system should be adjusted so that equal resources are available, said Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena, addressing the occasion of handing over the newly built 3-storied building at Ananda Vidyalaya Kottawa to the students. The Prime Minister, speaking at the event, commented, "Utilizing new knowledge and new technology is the most necessary challenge for the current generation of students. We must prepare for that challenge. Through that challenge, we want to strengthen the part that our children can take towards the future."
Weather report.
And finally, we take a look at the weather report. Showers will occur at times in the western, Sabaragamuwa and northwestern provinces and in the Kandy, Nuwara, Galle and Matara districts. Fairly heavy showers of about 75 millimeters are likely at some places in the Sabaragamuwa province and in the Kandy and Nuwara districts. Several spells of showers may occur in the Matale district. Strong winds of about 40 to 50 kilometers per hour can be expected at times over the western slopes of the Central Hills, the northern, north central and northwestern provinces and in the Trincomalee, Hambantota and Monaragala districts. To end tonight's news broadcast, we take a look at the headlines again. The Met Department has issued an advisory for strong winds and rough seas. The President is set to address the nation at 8 p.m. on Wednesday. Interim Secretariat for Truth and Reconciliation conducts consultations in the Monaragala district. Sports Minister pledges to resign if allegations against Sri Lankan T20 World Cup cricket team are proven. The government to provide free fertilizer to all paddy farmers. In foreign news, Russia blames US for Crimea deaths and vows response. In sports news, South Africa edges past West Indies to reach semis. That ends tonight's news broadcast. The time exactly 9 o'clock. This is Radio Sri Lanka.